Welcome then guys, and in this video what we're going to be talking about is the future of Call of Duty. Now, with this particular year's installment of Call of Duty, as we know, we're going to be getting World War II. Now, this has got a lot of people hyped. Personally, I like the idea of it. It does feel quite fresh, like a little bit more different. Not really too happy the way that the divisions and that lot work in it, but it is going to be a welcome change compared to the exosuits and especially compared to Infinite Warfare that we've been playing this particular year. Then moving on to next year, we're going to be playing a modern day shooter with Treyarch. It's pretty much set in stone that this is going to way to work. Everybody's seen the job listing that's been put up on Charlie Intel on Twitter and things like that. It does look like Treyarch are going to go with a modern day shooter. Now, personally, for me, I'm more hyped about that one. I cannot wait for Treyarch, which is by far the leading developer in the COD series at this present moment in time. Infinity Ward used to be the leading developer, but obviously most of them left. They up and left and obviously went to Respawn, or created Respawn, shall I say, and then they obviously made Titanfall 2. Now, the people that were left behind tried to take over the reins, so to speak, and obviously with Call of Duty Ghosts and then with Infinite Warfare, it hasn't really worked out too well for them whatsoever. But for me, like I say, Treyarch are definitely the leading developers. So next year, 2018's installment, we're going to have a modern shooter. Now, that for me personally is a lot more up my street. I cannot wait for Treyarch's installments. Like I say, I don't mind World War II, going back to the past, just doing something a little bit more different, just to try and break up the nostalgia of obviously having three games in a row where we're obviously bouncing around in the future. So the fact that we're going back, it is a little bit of a breath of fresh air, but I certainly would not want to be staying there. I think with a modern day shooter that Treyarch are going to be doing it, the score streaks have got a lot more fun, the weapons that you're going to be using are a lot more fun, and there is going to be a lot more stuff that you can actually use in the multiplayer side of it. I think with going back to World War II and actually basing it on an actual war, it does limit the actual stuff that you can actually put into the game. But saying that, it is going to be looking at now the way that Call of Duty is going to be evolving. Now, obviously, if we look way back, obviously we had the Modern Warfare series, absolutely brilliant. Everybody's loved Modern Warfare 2. Well, pretty most people. Was a little bit unbalanced, but hey ho, it was a fun game overall. We had Modern Warfare 3 as well. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But even though back then we had Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, which is probably some people's favourite Call of Duty title ever, and even so, those sort of games were absolutely brilliant. But even though back then a lot of people cried for change, now, like I've said before, people did not call out for exosuits, so to speak, but people did want change. They wanted the game to evolve and they wanted it to move forward. They felt that the game was just being copied and pasted. Obviously, we moved into a 3 development cycle to try and give other developers a little bit more time to work on the games, try and freshen things up and try and move things a little bit more forward. Then they had the great idea from Sledgehammer Games was then to actually add in the exosuits. Now, as we know with Advanced Warfare, you had the double boost and jump. Personally, for me, that was a little bit too chaotic, a little bit too crazy. Then obviously we had Treyarch then did their installment with Black Ops 3. Fun game, absolutely brilliant. A lot more people are playing that now compared to Infinite Warfare. Now, Infinite Warfare tried to take over the reins. They did a really bad job. For me personally, for a lot of things, it just did not work out. But we had all those 3 exosuit games all in a row. They had all of those 3 in a row. So it wasn't even like a breakup period. Call of Duty decided to jump the bandwagon, try and evolve the game. Obviously, they understood that Titanfall was coming out. You know, you've got games like Destiny, things like that. They felt that the 3D movement system was the better way to actually go. Did not quite work out for Call of Duty whatsoever, but saying that, it did pick up a lot of people along the way. A lot of people actually like the 3D movement system, and a lot of people are actually disappointed that we're going back to boots on the ground. So as we're moving forward with Call of Duty, where is it actually going to go? Like I said, we've got World War II this year. Next year we're going to have a modern day shooter, so obviously there's going to be no exosuits or nothing like that in there. So where is somewhere like Infinity Ward? I don't think Infinity Ward will be sacked off. I know a lot of their people actually got dropped, and they can bring other people in to try and help create the next game. But where are they actually going to go? Now, I don't think for a second they're going to do another exosuits. They're going to go boots on the ground. I mean, Call of Duty Ghosts did not go down too well. Infinite Warfare did not go down too well. They need to pull it out the bag. They need to. In 2019, they need to drop an absolute bomb. It has to be pretty much dead on perfect. There is no doubt about it. Whether or not they can beat Treyarch, like I said, I'm a big Treyarch fan. I do believe that 2018's game is going to smash some sales. I really totally believe that. So whether or not Infinity Ward can actually go and create a game that can actually rival that or not will be a very interesting one to see. But it's how we're actually going to be evolving. Will Call of Duty ever break the cycle of boots on the ground and just doing the same kind of thing over and over again? We're going to get stuck back in that little rut where everyone's saying that the game's a little bit copied and pasted. So whether or not we're going to have like one game back in the past, a modern day shooter, then a future shooter. Now, personally for me, if they did that, it wouldn't mind too much, but I would not want Infinity Ward to do the future shooter because of the way that Infinite Warfare worked. But saying that, maybe they could learn from their mistakes and do something else. But maybe we could have a break in a cycle, you know, different games to try and please different people. Now, I personally don't think that they're going to do with it. I think they're going to pretty much stick with obviously the old World War shooters and modern day shooters. They probably might go a little bit into the future, but I don't think they'll go too far into the future. I think nowadays Call of Duty have got themselves into a certain position where they're too scared. You know, Activision like to get all that money, they like to rain all that cash in, and I think they're a little bit too scared now to actually try and evolve the game. It'd be kind of like, you know, copying and pasting once again. I don't think that this game is going to evolve too much more. But saying that, a lot of the community like the way that actually works. If you look at like saying like Battlefield, I mean, as soon as Battlefield went all the way back to World War I, a lot of people were quite disappointed that the game felt very basic and didn't quite work out. But saying that, Battlefield fancied a little bit of a change. But I would imagine even like with the Battlefield series, they know what they're good at, they know what they do, and I think they're going to stick with that. And I do believe that Call of Duty will do that as well. I cannot see a future in Call of Duty with the 3D movement system. The way that these last 3 years have been, I cannot see them ever taking the risk again. Now, personally for me, I'd like to see it, you know, just like once every 2 years, just have a little bit of a break, just something a little bit different. But I think that that particular title would not do half as well as, say, like a modern day shooter or anything else like that. So I feel like Call of Duty now have put themselves in a particular corner where they're just going to be basically kind of like playing it safe for years to come. I think Call of Duty are just going to play exactly the way that they are, like obviously with the old World War and then obviously with the modern series. I think that's the only way forward for Call of Duty now. If you're going to be looking for your 3D movement systems and you want to be playing a little bit something else, I think you're definitely going to be looking at other games, you know, like your Titanfall series, Destiny and things like that. If you fancy a little bit more futuristic and a little bit more different movement system, you're definitely going to be shifting over to those kind of games, which for me is a little bit sad because I like to see games evolve, but in the Call of Duty sake, people like what they like. And I think that now Call of Duty are put themselves in such a position that they're going to be too scared to try anything else whatsoever because they don't want to upset the community or anything else like that. They'll keep it safe. They'll just solely stick with boots on the ground. And like I say, even if we go into the future, it'll be kind of like Black Ops 2. Now, Black Ops 2 was set in the future, but it didn't really seem futuristic or anything else like that. But one thing that game did have was absolutely fantastic score streaks as well. So I think that even though Call of Duty might stick around these kind of eras, I think as long as they're not basing it on real wars and they could just make up their own stuff, you know, chuck some different bits and pieces that maybe are not actually come out yet, maybe like some things that might be in the pipe work, like military that are trying to work on, you know, those kind of things, just trying to spice it up as the years go by and just try and change it. As long as you don't just basically just stick from one game to another so it feels like it's kind of copying and pasting. They do try and get creative. I think the best way to get creative is not to base it on real wars. You know, just make some stories up, be creative, and then you can put whatever weapons you want in it and whatever kind of content you want in it, instead of, like, you know, stifling yourself like World War II is at the moment. They want to make it realistic, so you're just basically stuck with the kind of score streaks that we got, the weapons and stuff that we got, and it's very bog standard. Whereas with Treyarch, as long as they're not basing it on a real war, they can actually use what they want, and I think that is probably the better way for Call of Duty's future actually to move forward. Like I say, I do not believe that we'll ever see another 3D movement system. Well, I'm not any time in the near future, because I don't think Activision would ever want to try and take that risk again. But let me know, guys, in the comment section below exactly what you think about this, whether you agree with me or not. Be very interesting to see. But anyway, guys, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and guys, if you can drop a like and also hit that bell to let me know, to let you guys know when my future videos go live, that'd be absolutely amazing. This is Nindy Last now.